So good day class, especially to our beloved instructor, Mr. Shan Javier Alquilita. So we are going to report to you the Buddhism of Middle Path, including the Middle Path, the Impermanence, the Legend of the Four Signs, the Four Noble Truths, and the Eightfold Path of Buddhism. So let's proceed to the first presentation.
So let's talk about the middle path in Buddhism. Also, the middle path of Buddhism does not mean having a bias view or superficial understanding only. So it means the Buddhism does not mean having a bias or view or superficial understanding. And the middle path of also represent a distinct theory and way of Buddhist practice that is not common to other religions. So the middle path also represents a distinct niya sa theory and the way of Buddhist he practice also common to other religions. So Buddhism is a religion with high moral values. It lays a great emphasis on human thoughts and action in dealing with the natural environment. Dili ra siya environment and society and individuals problem. So mao to siya. It is concerned with the relationship between thoughts and behavior and its consequence by observing the activities of mankind. So observe sa ni sa mga activities of mankind, guys. In real life, the Buddha mastered the principle of human behavior. Human behaviors also hidden thought, the thought or characteristic of middle path. The middle path dependence also originations, noble, eightfold path, and the law of independent originations explains the process of human activity. And the noble eighth path shows the way practice that enables one to uplift oneself. So the middle path also let's talk about. He doesn't mean having a bias or superficial understanding only. So middle path represent siya sa mga theory sa mga Buddha practice nga common sa mga religions. Kaning Buddhism religion siya with high moral values and human thoughts and action in dealing with the natural environment.
What is impermanence? So, impermanence means everything changes, nothing stays the same, everything has its own limitation. So, this is one of the most fundamental teachings of Buddhism. The Buddha taught that the source of human suffering and discontent is that we crave and cling to the things of this world under the mistaken view that they will last forever, but nothing does. Kay budget ta na ang tawo dili makaibaw makontento sa usa ka butang. O kitang tanan nagsuffer kay nagkunahuna ta na tanang butang maglast pero si Buddha iyang gitudlo si ang impermanence para makahibaw ang mga tawo na walay maglast, tanan butang mausab, tanang butang na ending. So impermanence, anitya or anika in Pali is one of the Buddha's three marks existence, three conditions that characterize all of life and are always present. The other two marks of existence are anatman, Pali anatta or not self, and dukkha Pali dukkha, suffering or dissatisfaction. Buddha has three marks of existence. Ang impermanence kay usara na siya sa tulo ka teaching na iyang gitudlo. So kaybaw naman tatanan na impermanence kay everything is temporary, nothing lasts. Ang ikaduha kay not self, meaning just like impermanence, A human being is called not stay in this world forever. And the third is what and the third one is suffering of dissatisfaction. Sa kalibutan nabuhi jud ta na naatay suffering o dili ta makontento sa usa ka butang, magsikya punta ng mga butang jud na makontento ta. So our bodies decline and decay, hair and teeth fall out, mental attitudes also change, excitement and anger arise, then fade away. Our good health and happiness are only temporary. We will eventually seeking age and die, as will our friends, enemies, relatives, and strangers. Human life is brief and human life is brief. In the Diamond Sutra, one of the Mahayana tradition's central scriptures, life is compared to a flash of lightning in a summer cloud or a bubble floating in a stream. Atong lawas is madugta jud ta. Mamatay ta, atong mga buhok kay mga tangtang, atong mga ngipon kay mga pudpud, and we will grow old and weak. Mao jud ni ang nagpamatuod na kitang tanan temporary ra, kay kung forever ta ning kalibutan na, wala untay mamatay, why magsuffer, dapat tanan kontento. Just like bata patatanan butang, just like bata tanang butang, mabuhat nato like magduwa, magambak-ambak koy problema, pero as we go older makaagi tag mga problema na dapat natong sulbaron. Atong lawas kay hinahinay na mawaan og kusog. In Mahayana tradition, compared impermanence to a flash of lightning and bubble stream, kay as we all know, ang lightning mag-change og direction niya, mukalit ragto nga mawala rasad, and dili sila same og patterns whenever we saw it in the sky. So the world around us may appear solid and unchanging, but even rivers change course, mountains crumble, seas dry up, and stars burn out. The entire universe is in a process of constant flux, arising and falling away. Our brief lives give us a privilege of witnessing the grand procession for just a moment. So, understanding impermanent is key to understand the change of dependent origination. The idea of emptiness and many other important Buddhist concepts, because all of existence is conditioned by the three marks. Buddhist practice aim to loosen our attachment to the world as it, and help us comprehend impermanence and the way it touches all aspect of our lives. So meditation on that are plentiful. In one of the Buddha's discourses, the Buddha's urge his followers to consider before they go to sleep at night that they may not live until morning. And Tibetan practitioners are instructed to meditate and carnal grounds where bodies are cremated or left to decompose. Other meditation on impermanence investigate the ever-changing nature of the breath and other bodily sensations are shifting to thoughts or passing of the seasons and other transformations in the natural world.
I'm ERBEL JUECO. Today I will tackle about the legend of the four signs, or also called the legend of the four sights. The story is all about a man named Siddhartha, belonged to the Kshatriya Gana clan of the Sakya. He was born in Lumbini near Kapila, Vasto in Nepal. His father was the king of Sakya clan. After the birth of his son, King Suddhodana, or translated to the next or also called the next king, the king called upon 8 Brahmins, and Brahmins means guru, to predict his son's future, while 7 of them declared that the prince would become either a Buddha or a great king. The Brahmin Kondinya was confident that he would renounce the world and become a Buddha. So the story, the 4 sides or the 4 signs, represents the 4 events described in the legendary account of Gautama Buddha's life, which lead to his realization of impermanence and ultimate dissatisfaction of conditioned existence. According to this legend, before these encounters, Gautama Siddhartha had been confined to his palace by his father, who feared that he would become an ascetic if he came into contact with sufferings of life according to a prediction that I said kanina katong ibasa na with the 8 Brahmins. However, his first venture out of the palace affected him deeply and made him realize the suffering of all the humans, and compelled him to begin his spiritual journey as a wandering ascetic, which eventually led to his enlightenment. So, the first sight is entitled An Old Man. When Siddhartha see a weak and frail old man, this is a major revelation, as Siddhartha would have come to the realization that you are not young, fit, and healthy forever. It is something that no one can escape. So no one can escape aging. And the second sight is a sick man. After seeing the old man, this will also be a shock, as Siddhartha has been sheltered from this and never come across the concept of people getting sick, ill, helpless, and even so ill till they die. The third sight is a corpse or dead man. The third thing that Siddhartha saw was a corpse in a funeral in fire. This would have been a shock, as this would be an awakening that life is not a continuous event. Think about it, when people get diagnosis of only a few months to live, they change the way they live their lives. Some may write a bucket of list of things that they want to achieve before that. And the last sight that Siddhartha sees is a holy man. After the first 3 sights, Prince Siddhartha realized he has been duped throughout his life. He has been surrounded by luxury, shielded from suffering and true reality by his father because he is a prince. It is the 4th sight which first awakens him to other possibilities and escape from suffering. He sees a wandering holy man, a sadhu, who appears happy in the midst of the suffering. So Siddhartha thought was the man or holy man being at peace with the world, even though he has no possession. It shows Siddhartha that he does not need materials things to be happy. Siddhartha feels betrayed by his family and so feel he must go find the truth as a ascetic and find the cause of human suffering. So that's all the story of the legend of the
So I am WILBUR LASPARILLA and I am the next reporter. I will talk about the Four Noble Truths in Buddhism. So Buddhism, famed four truths are called noble because they liberate us from suffering or gi-separate nila ang mga tao sa mga sufferings. They are the Buddha's basic teaching ng silbi civilization sa entire Buddhism path. So, it was these four principles that the Buddha came to understand during his meditation under the Bodhi tree. So, let's start with the first noble truth, which is the dukkha or the suffering. So, this comes in many forms of naitulog obvious kinds of suffering, and these are old age, sickness, and death. So, obvious na kayo. Mao ni sila ang factor kung ano magsuffer ta as human. Pero according to Buddha, the problem of suffering goes much deeper. He said that life is not a deal. It frequently fails to live up to our expectation. However, we as human na-jatay cravings and desires in life, but even when we are able to fulfill or satisfy these desires, ang atong satisfaction kay temporary ra gyapon. Ang atong pleasure kay dili ni siya magdugay, or if it does, it becomes monotonous or boring. Even if we are not suffering from illness or bereavement, we still unfulfilled or unsatisfied, and this is the truth of suffering. So, life involves suffering in obvious forms, even when things seem good or bisan okay ra ang tanan. We always feel an undercurrent or of anxiety and uncertainty inside. So the second noble truth is the samudaya or the cause of suffering. Related as a niche siya sa first noble truth nga nag-talk about cravings. So the cause of suffering are understood as stemming from negative action, parehaan ng killing, stealing, and lying. This also includes negative mental state that motivates negative action, such as desire, hatred, or ignorance. So, mental state of ignorance refers to an active misconception of nature of things, parehaan ng seeing pleasure where there is pain, beauty where there is ugliness, and self where there is no self. But on the other hand, once we are aware about how suffering takes place, then we can begin to remove the causes of suffering. The third noble truth is nirodha, or the cessation of suffering. Cessation means end. So, in the truth, we can already remove the causes of our sufferings or the disturbing emotion that we had inside, for the reason dili na kailangan magdepende ta sa usa ka tawo para ma-remove na to ang atong suffering. So, the truth is that if we abandon unvirtuous actions, we remove the possibility of experience suffering in the future. So, the Buddha taught that way to extinguish desire which causes suffering is to liberate oneself from attachment, or ipalayo ang kaugalingon para dili ma-attach. So, maong gitawag niya ang ikatulo nga truth as the possibility of liberation. So, then the fourth and final noble truth is magga, or the truth of the path to the cessation of suffering. So, this truth is also called as the truth of path because the path leads us to ultimate goals, step by step or stage by stage. Buddhism has 8 major aspects known as Eightfold Path, and this includes right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, and right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So, in Buddhism, they need to follow this eightfold path og importante nga makaibaw sila kung unsa ni og unsaon ni pagpractice sa kani nga path. So, by living ethically, practicing meditation, and developing wisdom, we can take exactly the same journey to enlightenment and freedom from suffering that the Buddha do. So, maong gitawag sa ni nga truth as the Buddha's fixed prescription, or the way to achieve a release from suffering. So, those are the 4 noble truths in Buddhism. Some people who encountered this teaching may find is it pessimistic, pero sa mga Buddhism, para nila dili ni optimistic nor pessimistic but realistic. Fortunately, the Buddha's teaching do not end with suffering, rather they go to tell us kung unsa atong dapat buhaton kung unsaon pag-end ana. So that is all my report. Thank you.
So I am John Michael Berondo, and I am going to report the Noble Eightfold Path. So the Noble Eightfold Path is an early summary of the path of Buddhist practices leading to liberation from samsara, the painful cycle of rebirth. The Eightfold Path consists of 8 practices, which is right view, right resolve, right speech, right conduct or right action, right livelihood, right effort, and right mindfulness, and right samadhi or the right concentration. So, according to the Indologist Tilman Vitter, the description of the Buddhist path may initially have been as simple as the term in the middle way. In time, this short description was elaborated, resulting in the description of the Eightfold Path. And Tilman Vitter and his historian Rod Bucknell both note that longer description of the path can be found in the early texts, which can be considered into the Eightfold Path. So, the first is the right view. So, right view is means of our actions have consequence, and death is not the end. And they explain that our action and beliefs have consequences after death. The Buddha followed and thought a successful path out of this world and the other world, which is the heaven and underworld or the hell. Later on, the right view came to explicitly include karma and rebirth, and the importance of the 4 noble truths when insight became central to Buddhist soteriology. Second is the right resolve or intention, the giving up of home and adapting the life of religious mendicant in order to follow the path. This concept aimed at peaceful renunciation into an environment of non-sensuality, 9 will to loving kindness, away from cruelty or compassion. Such an environment aids contemplation of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. Third is the right speech, no lying, no rude speech, no telling one person what another says about him to cause discord or harm their relationship. Next is the right conduct or action, no killing or injuring no taking what is not given, no sexual acts, no material desires. Next is the right livelihood. Right livelihood is too big to feed, only possessing what is essential to sustain life. Next is right effort. Right effort is preventing the arising of unwholesome states and generating wholesome states. The effort of the 7 factors of awakening. This includes the Indriya Samvara, or guarding the sense doors, that restraint of the sense faculties. Next is the right mindfulness, or the retention of being mindful of the Dhammas, which is the teachings and elements that are beneficial to the Buddhist path. In the Vipassana movement, sati is interpreted as bare attention, never be absent-minded, being conscious of what one is doing. This encourages the awareness of the impermanence of body, feeling, and mind, as well as to experience the 5 aggregates, which is the skandhas, the 5 hindrances, the 4 true realities, and the 7 factors of awakening. So the last Eightfold Noble Path is the right concentration, which is the practicing 4 stages, which is the meditation. So this includes action proper in the 2nd stage and reinforce the development of the effort, and culminating into upika, or the equanimity and mindfulness. In the Theravada tradition and the Vipassana movement, this is interpreted as ikagata, or a concentration or one-pointedness of the mind, and supplement with Vipassana meditation, which aims at insight. And the Eightfold Path is divided into 3 groups. And right view and right intention belongs to wisdom. Right speech, right action, and right livelihood belong to ethical conduct. Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration belong to mental development. So those are the short interpretation of the Eightfold Path. Thank you and God bless.